Vaikritastu devasargaha ashtabhedaha. So the creation of the devas is Vaikrita, which means it is done by Brahma. It is secondary creation, and it is of 8 types. Atra, amongst them, amongst the 8 types, Vudadayaha Trayaha Bhedaha. Gandharva Apsaraha Ekaha. These are 3 separate demigods, forefathers, the Asuras. Gandharvas and Asuras are grouped together. Yaksha, Shamsi, Ekaha. Yakshas and Rakshasas are a single category. Bhuta Preta Pishacha Ekaha. The Bhutas, Pretas, Pishachas belong to one category. Siddha Charna Vidyadharaha Ekaha. The Siddhas. Where are the Siddhas? Bhuta Preta Pishacha. Vidyadharas, Kinnaras. Oh, Siddhas. Siddha Charna Vidyadhara. Why I don't find it? Okay, Siddhas, Charnas, and Vidyadharas. They are actually one category. Yes, look at the translation. Siddhas, Charnas, Vidyadharas have been grouped together. Kinnaradaya Ekaha. Yes, Kinnaradaya. Kinnaras and others. They are one category. In that Adayaha, you have the King Purushas and others. Vishwasrik Prameshwara Brahmacha. Vishwasrik Krataha. So all of them have been created by the creator of the universe, which can refer to the Supreme Lord and it can refer to Brahma, both. As explained in the second canto of Srimad Bhagavatam, the Siddhas are inhabitants of Siddhaloka, where the residents travel in space without vehicles. At their mere will, they can pass from one planet to another without difficulty. Therefore, in the upper planets, the inhabitants are far superior to the inhabitants of this planet in all matters of art, culture, and science, since they possess brains superior to those of human beings. The spirits and jinn mentioned in this connection are also counted among the demigods because they're able to perform uncommon functions not possible for men. So, in other words, Deva Sarga means creation of superhuman beings. Yes.
Prabhu, these forefathers, Pitras, usually, like, I don't have much understanding on this. So, if someone dies in a family, his father or grandfather, so not everyone goes to this Pitra Loka?
Those who engage in pious activities, they go. You need to have certain degree of punya in order to go to Pitraloka.
And
Either it needs to be transferred to you. But I think that you need a minimum amount in order to first of all go there, and to sustain yourself, you require punya from your descendants, male descendants.
okay. Okay.
Question in the chat box. How one can attain punya? You perform pious activities, then you get punya. 13. अतः परं प्रवक्ष्यामि वंशान् मन्वन्तराणि च एवं रजः कृतः स्रष्टा कल्पादिषु आत्मभूर्हरिः सृजत्यमोघ संकल्प आत्मैवात्मानम् आत्मना. Now I shall describe the descendants of the Manus. The creator Brahma as incarnation of the passion mode, incarnation of the mode of passion of the personality of God. That means belonging to the personality of God. Creates the universal affairs with unfailing desires in every millennium by the force of the Lord's energy. So the Supreme Lord, with unfailing determination, he creates himself by himself, literally, which means by his own energy. Tarihi eva atmabhu sun ityadvaya. The Supreme Lord himself, by becoming Brahma, or in the form of Brahma, or through Brahma, he does this. The cosmic manifestation is an expansion of one of the many energies of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Creator and the Created are both emanations of the same Supreme Truth, as stated in the beginning of the Bhagavatam Janmadhyasya, chapter 11, calculation of time from the atom. 1. Maitreya Charama Sad Visheshana Aneko Samyutah Sada Paramanusya Vigyeyo Nrinamaikya Brahmo Yataha. The material manifestation's ultimate particle, which is indivisible and not formed into a body, is called the atom. It exists always as an invisible identity, even after the dissolution of all forms. The material body is but a combination of such atoms, but it is misunderstood by the common man. एकादशि पुनः कालः विशेषेण अपि लक्ष्यते मासवर्षयुग आदीनां प्रमाणं ज्ञायते यतः. Now here, time is again characterized in the 11th chapter. Time is again characterized with further details, because of which we are able to understand the durations of month, year, yugas, and so on. Prathamam atyantikam sukshma kalam. Where is atyantikam sukshma kalam? That's his own remark. Prathamam atyantikam sukshma kalam swarupatah lakshayitum ashaknuvan tat parichedyam vastu lakshayati. Because it is impossible to characterize subtle time or the finest degree of time, the absolute finest degree of time. So he begins with describing its various divisions. He characterizes it as something which can be divided. Okay. Satah karyasya prachulyader visheshanam amshanam yas charamaha yasya amshaha na sambhavati. So the smallest division of the parts of material elements is called the atom. But it refers to something which cannot be further divided. It is not possible to have an amsha of it. Charama iti ekavachanat kim eka eva na into anekaha. But then when you say there is only one, is it that there is one particle, or are there many? अत्र सूक्ष्मकाल ज्ञानार्थं तेषां बहुत्वे अपि एकस्य एव उपयोगिता इति एकवचनप्रयोगः. Now, actually, there are several such particles, but it is appropriate that one is useful for our purpose. But still, if you say there's one particle, is it combined or is it uncombined? It says that it is not combined. Asamyukta. This is the Paramanu. Natu drishyate iti artha. It means that we cannot see that. It is so small, it cannot be seen. Nanu tarhi tasya sattve kim pramanam tatraha. And then what is the evidence that it actually exists? Yataha. Yataha. It's the last word here. Yebhyah, sab uditebhyah, nam aikyam iti brahma bhavati. What is its size? How do we know it exists? Now, when people, they can only perceive a combination of these paramana. They do not perceive a single paramana. So they mistakenly think that this combination itself is a single unit. सूर्य रश्मि युक्ते गवाक्षरन्ध्रे ये भ्रमन्तः अतिसूक्ष्म एव कणः इति बुद्धिर्भवति इत्यर्थः. Standard example. If you perceive small particles of the sun rays, you can say sun rays, which are coming through a lattice window. That means a window which has got gavaksha, which is something like a mosquito net, let's say. Okay. So then one thinks, okay, here is one part. Here is another part. That smallest part, when these light rays are coming inside, they are seen, but one cannot see the smallest particle of that light particle. I think this is going to come in the next verse. I don't know. Tasya shashtaha amsha eva parmana satu adrishya eva iti atah. This is all coming from, must be coming from Kannada. 1/6 of the ray of the sun that you see in a lattice window, that is a parmana. And certainly it cannot be seen. Nunamiti uktya trasarenu pramana dehanam kita visheshanam yesham chit kopi drishya eveti vyajyate. It is said that men are not able to see this, but there are certain creatures. Worm, kita here generally we translate it as worm, but it refers to small creatures. There are certain small creatures whose bodies are as big as a trasareno. We'll see what a trasareno is. So some of them, they can see this paramana. That is revealed here. The atomic description of the Srimad Bhagavatam is almost the same as the modern science of atomism. And this is further described in the Paramanavada of Kannada. In modern science also, atoms are accepted as the ultimate indivisible particles of which the universe is composed. Srimad Bhagavatam is a full text of all descriptions of knowledge, including the theory of atomism. The atom is the minute, subtle form of eternal time. 1 minute. Let me first of all have a look at. Okay. Yes.
Prabhu, but nowadays they are even dividing atoms. So
no, but nothing below the atom. See, that also the theoretical physicists are also not very clear about this. I remember reading long time back, there was a reference to a book called Encyclopedia of Ignorance, written by scientists about what they do not understand. And one of the topics which was brought up was, what is inside an atom? So now the general conception is an atom is composed of certain subatomic particles prominently protons, electrons, neutrons. Neutron, okay. And the idea is that when you collide atoms, then these things come out. Electrons come out like that. And based on that, they form the theory that atoms must be made up of electrons, protons, neutrons. So this scientist was writing, but just because you collide atoms and electrons come out of it, or various subatomic particles, what we consider subatomic particles, they come out of it, doesn't mean that the atom is actually made up of them. And he gave an example. He says, you take a stone and you throw it at a dog, then the dog, it barks at you. But that does not mean that the dog is made up of barks. The bark is just an effect of coming out of the dog. So like that, these electrons and all might have been generated when you collide. We don't know what's inside. It's a fact. So they themselves, they are not very, very clear about many of these things. It is highly speculative. Theoretical physics is more speculative. What can be done about it? Okay.
In America, they made a TV serial also. Just theoretical physicist was running, and it's completely they have made a comedy based on that. How a theoretical physicist speculate about everything.
So, what can be done? Text 2. Satayava padarthasya swarupavasthitasya yat kaivalyam paramamahan avishesho nirantaraha. Atoms are the ultimate state of the manifest universe. When they stay in their own forms without forming different bodies, they are called the unlimited oneness. There are certainly different bodies in physical forms, but the atoms themselves form the complete manifestation. Atyantikam sukshmam uktva, atyantikam sthulam apyaha. This looks like it's a mistake. Wait. Sthulam in the Gaudiya tradition also talks about this. So having spoken about the finest division of matter, now the other extreme, the complete totality of matter, that is now being characterized. Yasya charma amshaha paramanuh tasya eva satah karyamatrasya swarupa avasthitasya pralaya parinama pragbhutasya yat kaivalyam aikyam sa paramamahan umstvam tu paramanu pratiyogitvat. So this is now a description of the oneness of matter, which this state comes up just about the time of pralaya, at the time of dissolution. This must be the ultimate dissolution. That means at the end of Brahma's life. So this is matter in its original form. This is the ultimate effect. Just before the transformation of dissolution, at that time, all of matter is together into a single entity. This is the supreme Mahatattva. Nano nana visheshavan parasparam bhinnah cha sarvaha padarthaha katham aikyam tasya. Now, every object is distinct from each other because it possesses numerous identifiable characteristics. So then how can you say that all of them are put together as one single patraha? He says, Vishesha, Vishesha, Vivaksharahitaha, Nirantaraha, Veda Vivaksharahita, Sarva Viprapanchaha, Paramahan. No, there's no basic sense of identifiable characteristics in the form of distinct qualities. There's no distinction between each other in that state of the supreme Mahatattva. Three. एवं कालोप्यनुमितः सौक्ष्म्ये स्थौल्ये च सत्तमा संस्थान भुक्त्या भगवान अव्यक्तो व्यक्तभूत विभुः. One can estimate time by measuring the movement of the atomic combination of bodies. Time is the potency of the Almighty Personality of Godhead Hari, who controls all physical movement, although he is not visible in the physical world. यथा सूक्ष्मः स्थूलः च अयं पदार्थः एवं कालः अपि अनुमितः ज्ञातः. So now that is about matter. Similarly, time should be inferred corresponding to the finest division of matter or the grossest totality of matter corresponding to that. Kena prakarena, how is that? How is there a correspondence? Samsthana, paramana, paramahato, swarupam, tasya, bhuktya, vyaptya, bhagavad chittidvar. What is it? Bhagavat. Oh, Bhagavat. Okay, fine. Swatah avyaktaha vyaktam. Sarva prapancham bhukte vyapnoti parichinnati iti tatha. Because time pervades through the finest division of matter and the greatest totality of matter. So it is the Supreme Lord through his time potency who is doing it. And he is naturally unmanifest. And he is the one who divides up this material creation. Vibhuhu, atayeva vyapakaha. He is pervading through it. Utpatyadishu dakshahava. He is also expert in bringing about the creation, maintenance, and annihilation. Or the kala paramanurvai yo bhukti paramanutam sato vishesha bhukyastu sakala paramamaha. Atomic time is measured according to its covering a particular atomic space. That time which covers the unmanifest aggregate of atoms is called the great time. Sambhokta ityasya iti asya artham vivrinoti. What does it mean that time pervades, the Supreme Lord in the feature of time pervades the finest division of matter and the largest totality of matter? What does it mean? That is now elaborated here. Satah karyasya paramanutam paramanuswarupam yah kalah bhunte surya rupena atikramyati sa paramanu atikramyati. What is this verse number? Verse number 4. So paramanu. So just as there is paramanu padartha, there is atomic matter. So like that, there is something called atomic time. The finest division of time. We generally talk about seconds, and then within seconds we divide it into nanoseconds like that. But the finest division of time itself would be atomic time. Paramanu, that is the lowest unit of time. The amount of time which the sun takes to pass over a paramanu is defined as the paramanu time, the atomic time. ग्रहर्क्ष इति वक्ष्यमाणवाक्यदृष्ट्या यावता कालेन सूर्यः परमाणुदेशम् अतिक्रामति तावान् कालः परमाणुः इत्यर्थः. This is he is giving a reference to 3.11.13. That amount of time that the sun takes to cross over a paramanu is called the paramanu unit of time. Such a tasyeva avishesham sarvameva prapancham bhunte vatsara yugadyavritya suryarupi kalaha sat paramamahan srishtim arabhya prapanchasya samhara paryantam yavan kalaha tan sarveva paramamahan ityartha. Similarly, there is the unit of time which is referred to as Parama Mahat, Parama Mahan, the great time, the supremely great time. Now that refers to the time for, if you consider in terms of solar time, and if you add up the years, the yugas, and so on, that amount of time it takes from the beginning of the creation up to the end of the creation, dissolution. So that amount of time, solar time, that is the unit of time known as Parama Mahan. Let's call it Parama Mahan. Okay. तत्र परमाणु अणुत्रसरेणूनां कार्यांशानां संज्ञप्रमाणे तुल्य एव तथा परमहतः कार्यस्य कालस्य च संज्ञा इव तुल्या तन्मध्यस्थानां संज्ञप्रमाणयोः भिन्नत्वम् इति ज्ञेयम्. So now the time for sun to pass through a paramanu is called paramanu time. Similarly, the time it takes to pass through an anu is called anu time. The time it takes to pass through Trasarenu is called Trasarenu time. The time it takes to pass through the entire totality of matter, which is Paramamahan, is also called Paramamahan. But then there are several divisions of time which are in between. For them, the name of that unit of time is not the same as the amount of matter that it passes through. So the units of time is identical only with Paramanu, Anu, Trasarenu, and Paramamahan. Otherwise, there are different other names for time. Therefore, we have Nimesha, Bhatika, like that, different expressions. We'll come across them. Time and space are two correlative terms. Time is measured in terms of its covering a certain amount, a certain space of atoms. Standard time is calculated in terms of the movement of the sun. The time covered by the sun and passing over an atom is calculated as atomic time. The greatest time of all covers the entire existence of the non-dual manifestation. All the planets rotate and cover space, and space is calculated in terms of atoms. Each planet has its own, has its particular orbit for rotating, in which it moves without deviation, and similarly the sun has its orbit. The complete calculation of the time of creation, maintenance, and dissolution measured in terms of the circulation of the total planetary systems until the end of creation is known as the supreme kala. Vayu. Anurdvo paramanu syat trasarenu trayasmutah jalarka rashmi avagatah khammevanu patannagat. The division of gross time is calculated as follows. 2 atoms make one double atom, and 3 double atoms makes one hexatom. So an Anu is actually a double atom, and a Trasarenu is a hexatom, 6 atoms. This hexatom is visible in the sunshine, which enters through the holes of a window screen. One can clearly see that the hexatom goes up towards the sky. Dvau parmanu anusyat. 2 parmanus will make an anu. Rayaha anavaha trasarenu. And then 3 anus, that means 6 paramanus, make up a trasarenu. Satu pratiksha ityaha jalarka. Now, a trasarenu can be seen, visible. And that is pointed out in the second half of this verse. Gavaksha pravishteshu arka rashmishu kham eva ati laghavena anupatan avagatah chakshusha gyatah natu gam prithvim. These Trasarenos are not found in the land. It can be understood when one looks at the sun rays coming through a latticed window, when they are moving up because they are extremely light, they go up towards the sky. So then they can be perceived, which means they can be seen through the eyes. Agat iti pathe तथा भूतश्चलति इति अर्थः. Looks like instead of agat there was a different reading, but Krishna Chakravarti also considers agat as a reading. If one were, what's the reading? Some other reading. Natu gam. Let me see, what is this? Is there another reading? It looks like that's another reading also. Okay, so then one sees that it moves in that manner. Now, what is the indicator of the existence of the anu and parmanu? That is the prasarenu. Tathahi avayavanam sthaulya prachuratve vina avayavi kalpya. Natu paramanavaha tesham sthaulya abhavat staulyam nekavastu ghatitatvam iti anoh staulyam paramanu vina na sambhavet iti paramanu siddhi. This argument and all is coming from the atomic school that Kanada school, as far as I know. Now, if one does not have multiple parts, if a particle does not itself have multiple parts of considerable dimensions, then one will not be able to detect it. Now, the Trasarenu, it must be made up of various parts. The Paramanus, they are not big, they are very, very fine. And being big itself is an indicator that it must be having various parts. Looks like this logic is coming from that school of atomic. Some consideration about sthaulya, which means solidity. It is also theoretical physics. I haven't studied this, at least as of now. At some point I will, then I'll be able to have a better understanding of this. The solidness of the anu sthaulya, paramanu vina na sambhavet, would not be if it did not have subatomic particles in the form of, if it did not have atomic particles in the form of paramanus. So that is the proof of the paramanu. Rasarenoh drishyatvam avayavasthulyam vinana sambhavet iti anusiddhi. But that Trasarenu can be seen itself is proof that anus exist, because otherwise, how can it be big enough? तथा अणुस्थौल्यार्थं परमाणु द्वित्वमेव कल्प्यते न तु त्रित्वचतुष्त्वादिकं प्रथम उपस्थितेः तन्त्रत्वाद् इति न्यायात् यथा कपिञ्जलन्याय. This is Jaimini. Yatha kapinjala labhate prachuryaartham anurapi tritvameva kalpyate tatha yuktehi iti. This he is using reference from Purvamimamsa. In Purvamimamsa, it is stated that one requires to sacrifice the kapinjalas. Kapinjala is one type of a bird. But then how many is not specified. So then in Purva Mimamsa, it is pointed out that Kapinjala is referred to in the plural, which means minimum three. So you require three Kapinjala. So like that, once you understand that uh, you need to have uh, the number of anus to make up a Trasareno. How do you know how many anus? So it must be three. So from the logical perspective also, they come to this conclusion. Now one needs to study Kannada in order to understand this argument, this method of argumentation. I'll accept that. The atom is described as an indivisible particle, but when six such atoms combine together, they're called a Trasareno. And this is visible in the sunshine pouring through the holes of a window screen. Nowadays, these things are not studied in detail. Even amongst traditional scholars, they are not so much interested. In fact, one scholar I met recently, he said, what is the point of studying this is all called Vaisheshika philosophy, where they study the different features of matter. He said, well, it is simply physics. It is just physics. Why we need to be bothered so much about it? So he was explaining why people are not so interested in today's world to enter into all that. Okay, question.
So, Prabhu, to see this Trisarenu also, we need certain training. Not everyone sees it.
No, if you have a certain type of lattice window, then it is just plainly visible.
Oh.
Of course, you need to see here. Bhagavatam is not a textbook on Vaisheshika details. But if you go into Vaisheshika, then they will also specify how to make that lattice window. Just like time used to be measured now. Previously also time was measured. In India, time was measured. So they knew particular times. That's how they knew how to calculate when Ekadashi ends, when Dwadashi begins, when to break the fast. There's a lot of discussions. So they knew about up to minutes and seconds they knew. So they knew these things. They were throughout India, they knew these things. So like that, but they had particular devices with which they would do all these calculations. So like that, this lattice window or a window screen, as Prabhupada says, that also must have been a standard component. Just that we are thoroughly ignorant of these things. So previously it must have been just visible. It's not some great. Okay, another question.
Prabhu, we say that Bhagavatam, there is only bhakti related topics are discussed. Then why they inserted these things also?
No, bhakti does not mean that you don't understand the nature of the material world, the spiritual world, the spirit souls, the influence of time. Everything you're meant to understand, but you understand everything in the correct perspective. That is called Sambandha Gyan. You understand everything as related to the center of existence, Krishna. So that we'll see in every chapter, that point will keep coming out. Even in this chapter, you'll see. Time will be explained as an influence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead.
Yeah. So these verses can we escape when we do classes? Because
no, it is part of Bhagavatam. It's meant to be studied. Whether it is talking about material, spiritual, whatever it is, Bhagavatam we are meant to study. Because Bhagavatam teaches us Vairagya, Vidya, and Bhakti. This studying the influence of time, we will understand that it is just matter. And matter is ultimately not so very beautiful. If you go and break it down further, it is just some atoms. So why should we be very interested in enjoying this material world? Anyway, time will destroy everything. So why should we enjoy? So it produces Vairagya also. Everything presented in Bhagavatam is to bring out Vairagya, Vidya, Bhakti. So it has its role to play. We cannot skip all these things. Okay. 6. Trasareno trikam bhakte yakala sattuti smrita. Shatabhagastu vedasya taistrivistu navasmrita. The time duration needed for the integration of 3 Tasrenus is called Truti. And 100 Tutis make 1 Vedha. 3 Vedhas make 1 Lava. Trasarenu Trikameti. Tribihi Trasarenubhi Trutihi. So 3 Trasarenus constitute the Truti. Suchya Bhinne Padmapatre Trutir Ityabhidiyate iti Surya Siddhanta. Surya Siddhanta says that Truti is the time it takes to pierce using a needle a lotus leaf. Yavata kalena padma pushpa patram vidyate tavan kala trutirityartha. Shatam bhagaha trutirupa yasmin sa vedaha trutishatena vedha. 100 trutis make 1 Veda. Vedha. Taihi trivihi lavaha. 3 times that is a lava. We've calculated that if a second is divided into 1687.5 parts, each part is the duration of a truti, which is the time occupied in the integration of 18 atomic particles. Such a combination of atoms into different bodies creates the calculation of material time. The sun is the central point for calculating all different durations. So the time it takes for sun to pass through a certain amount of material space is taken as one particular unit of time. 7. Nimeshastri lavogyeya amnataste trayakshana kshanan pancha viduh kashtham laguta dashapanchacha. The duration of time of 3 lovers is equal to 1 nimesha. The combination of 3 nimeshas makes 1 kshana. 5 kshanas combined together make 1 kashtha. 15 kashthas make 1 lagu. Okay, this is the one. Te nimeshaha prayaha kshanaha iti amnata. The 3 nimeshas is 1 kshana. Said to be 1 kshana. Kadita ta kashtha panchadasha ekam lagu bhavati. 15 kashthas make 1 lagu. By calculation, it is found that 1 lagu is equal to 2 minutes. The atomic calculation of time in terms of Vedic wisdom may be converted into present time with this understanding. 8. Laghuni vai samamnata dashat pancha nadika. Tedve muhurta prahara shad yama saptava. 15 lagus make 1 nadika, which is also called a danda. 2 dandas make 1 muhurta. And 6 or 7 dandas make 1/4 of a day or night according to human calculation. Nadika, dandaha, te dve, nadike. Okay, you have a nadika, which is also known as a danda. Okay. And then you have 2 nadikas together as a unit. Shat saptava nadikaha praharaha saeva yamaha api. So 6 or 7 nadikas equals a prahara, which is also called a yama. So we have ashta prahara or ashta yama. Dinasya ratrehe cha chaturtha bhagaha rase shat vriddhi pravruttau sapta. Sandhya dvaya ghatikam vina iti geya. So when the day or night is long, dinasya ratrescha chaturtha bhaga. So that is the 4th part. Day and night are divided into 4 parts. Rase shat vriddhi pravruttau sapta. When the days and nights are short, then you have 6. You have 6 or 7 dandas now. So it will have 6 dandas. And then when the days or nights are long, then you'll have 7 dandas. This is without calculating the 2 ghatikas of a sandhya, or without considering the ghatika of the 2 sandhyas. Tatrapi aniyame vashamtah, because there are no specific regulations. So many, for each day things will be different. Pratyaham tad bhedanam ganayatum ashakyatvat. Every day will have some difference which cannot be brought out. So therefore here it is said 6 or 7 dandas. द्वादशार्ध पलोन्मानं चतुर्विंशतिचतुरङ्गुलै स्वर्णं माशै कृतच्छिद्रं यावत् प्रस्थं जलप्लुतम्. The measuring pot for one nadika or danda can be prepared with a 6 pala weight 14-ounce pot of copper, in which a hole is bored with a golden probe weighing 4 masha. It is a weight, and measuring 4 fingers long. Finger or anguli, that's a distance. It's a unit of distance. When the pot is placed on water, the time before the water overflows in the pot is called 1 danda. Nadikaya unmanamaha. The length of a nadika is brought out here. How one measures the nadika is brought out here. Unniyate anena iti unmanam. Shatpala tamra rachitam patram chatushtya mashaih palam bhavati. So one has to take a copper pot which has a weight of 6 palas. One pala is actually 64 marshas. Panchagunja mashah taihi chaturvihi chatur angula ayama shalaka rupena rachitaihi kritamula chidram tena chidrena yavat prastha parimitam jalam pravishati. So one should make a hole in a pot. One should make a hole in a pot using a needle. That needle should be 4 fingers long, and it should weigh 4 mashas. So you have some specifications here with a golden probe, swarna masha. So it should be a golden needle. That's another consideration. So then 5 gunjas make 1 masha. So the time it takes for water of the measurement of 1 prastha to enter that vessel and fill it is called a nadikam. So this is how they measure. तेन च प्लुतं निमग्नं भवति तावान् कालः नाडिका अत्र फलच्छिद्रयो आधिक्ये शीघ्रं निमज्जे अल्पत्वे च विलम्बेन इति फलशलाकयोः नियमः तत्रापि रजतादि शलाकया छिद्रपुष्टि स्यात् इति स्वर्णस्यापि नियमः. So there are various regulations he's talking about. He says that if the vessel is heavier, if the hole is larger, then there will be one effect. It will sink him. Actually, it will emerge. It will emerge unnecessarily. It will sink. If the vessel is lighter, the hole is smaller, then that will happen at a different speed. So therefore, you find specific details about the pot, specific details about the hole, specific details about the composition of the needle. It should be made of gold, not made of silver, because then the hole will become enlarged. A lot of considerations here. It looks like they were quite technical also in the past. It is advised here in that the whole board in the copper measuring pot must be made with a golden probe weighing 4 masha and measuring 4 fingers long. This regulates the diameter of the hole. The pot is submerged in water and the overflowing time is called a danda. This is another way of measuring the duration of a danda, just as time is measured by sand flowing in an hourglass. It appears that in the days of Vedic civilization, there was no dearth of knowledge in physics, chemistry, or higher mathematics. Measurements were calculated in different ways, as simply as could be done. Not like today, to calculate some speed or time, they use some electron accelerator, something, some atomic accelerator, or some complicated device, which takes thousands of dollars or to even make it. Not like that. It should be easy to measure also. 10. Yamashattvaraschattvaro matyanamhani ubhe pakshah panchadashahani shuklah krishnascha manada. It is calculated that there are 4 praharas, which are also called yamas in the day and night. In the day, and 4 in the night of the human being. Similarly, 15 days and nights are a fortnight. And there are 2 fortnights, white and black. Namant. Ahani ubhe. Ahani is a dual. This way there's no sandhi here. Ahani ahoratram. Ahani literally means 2 days, but actually it means 2 durations of a day, which indicates that it is talking about a day and night. 11. Tayo samuchayo maasah pitrinam tadahar nisham dvau tav ritu shaddayanam dakshinam chotaram divi. The aggregate of 2 fortnights is 1 month, and that period is 1 complete day and night for the Pita planets, Pitri planets. 2 of such months comprise 1 season, and 6 months comprise 1 complete movement of the sun from south to north. Shanmasa ayanam, 6 months. 6 months refers to ayana. So you have Dakshinayana, Uttarayana. Divi iti asya Uttarayana. Okay. The word Divi is connected to the next verse. Okay, question.
So we see that in the Vedic time everything is done very easily. So now we are trying to live in that Vedic culture, but we don't see that we are trying to enter into that like Vedic civilization, following things. Even for eating also, devotees also use only paper plates, some plastic glasses, plastic plates even. So how we are revising the Vedic culture? In what way?
Well, I don't understand what you repeatedly mean by we, because there are many people in ISKCON who are actually beginning to follow these things. Maybe we in Mayapur or in Kalyani, we are the unfortunate exceptions who are not interested in these things. But throughout ISKCON, if you examine today, 2025 itself, ISKCON, various places, they are becoming more and more inclined towards this naturalistic way of living. More and more, they're interested in farm communities, to live without electricity. More devotees are interested. That's a fact. If you just examine today's ISKCON, more devotees are interested in these things.
But in Mayapur also we don't see.
So that is a problem in Mayapur. You can try to solve the problem.
But how?
So if you also try to follow, you can create awareness. There are devotees in Mayapur who try to promote all these things. We should have crop, we should have our own grains. They say all these things. Every now and then you'll see some new short video coming out where they talk about how they're growing some crop, some this, some that, and they show. See, we are very happy with this. There's so many of them are interested in these things.
So whom
Okay.
should I contact so that we can take some inspiration from that?
Chittamohan Prabhu he will know devotees who are interested in these kind of things.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Ayane Chahani Prahu, Vatsaro Dwadasha Smrita. Samvatsara Shatam Nrinam Paramayur Nirugitam. Two solar movements make one day and night of the demigods. That combination of day and night is one complete calendar year for the human being. The human being has a duration of life of 100 years. Okay. Te ayane divi devanam hani ahoratro dwadashamasa vatsaraha. So two solar movements. That means two ayanas, Dakshinayana, Uttarayana. They make up one day. The word divi from the previous source has to be taken into consideration here. Divi ahani rahu. So they are the one Dakshinayana 6 months, another Uttarayana 6 months together, one human year. That is the equivalent of one day and night for the Devas, who also have, in that way, you have day, night, then you have months, and then you have years. 13. Tara Chakrastha Paramanvadina Jagat Samvatsara Vasanena Pariyatyanamisho Vibhu. Influential stars, planets, luminaries, and atoms all over the universe are rotating in their respective orbits under the direction of the Supreme, represented by eternal Kala. Tachin Ninamayur Udayastamaya Bhyam Surya Harati. So that life of a human being is decreased, is stolen, it is taken out by the sun through its rising and setting. That is now pointed out in the current verse, text 13. Grahaha Chandradaya. The word Graha refers to Chandra and others. These are influential planets, planets which have influence on human affairs. The Rikshani, Ashwinyadini, and then you have the Rikshas refer to other luminaries such as Ashwini. Tara refers to other stars. Tesham Chakre Mandale Tishtati iti Jyotish Chakrastha. All of them are within sun's circle. So you have the moon, the Ashwini and other constellations, and the stars which refer to other constellation of stars which are beyond the stand. See here, Ashwini and so on means that there are 27 nakshatras. But the taras, they refer to other nakshatras. There are other collections of stars apart from those 27. All of them are within the Jyotish Chakra. See, when the sun moves, all of them move. We'll come across this in the first canto. So they're all part of that. Animishaha, Kalaswarupaha, Vibhuhu, Ishwaramshaha, Pariyati, Parikramati. So in this way, the Almighty is a reference to Surya. It's a form of time, and he is an aspect of the Supreme Lord, Krishna. In that way, he moves around. In the Brahma Samhita, it is stated that the sun is the eye of the Supreme, and it rotates in its own and rotates in its particular orbit of time. Similarly, beginning from the sound down to the atom, all bodies are under the influence of the Kala Chakra, or the orbit of eternal time. And each of them has a scheduled orbital time of 1 samvatsara, 14. संवत्सर परिवत्सर इडावत्सर एव च अनुवत्सरो वत्सरश्च विदुरैवं प्रभाष्यते. There are 5 different names for the orbits of the sun, moon, stars, and luminaries in the firmament, and they each have their own samvatsara. ग्रह वृक्ष तारा चक्रस्थ इत्युक्तम्. अतः सूर्यगत्या ग्रह आदीनां गत्या वर्षस्य वर्षस्य must be वर्षस्य Bengali वर्ष is written like this. 14, 13, 14. Yeah, वर्षस्य right. वर्षस्य नामभेदानाः. So you have, it was noted that there are all these heavenly bodies, grahas, and then you have these different constellations, the 27 nakshatras and the other nakshatras, and all of them are within the Jyotish chakra, which moves, which rotates. So now the different lengths of time in terms of years that it takes for the grahas, rikshas, taras to orbit, that is now going to be mentioned here. How much time does it take for the sun to orbit? How much time does it take for other planets to orbit, and so on? Samvatsara iti sauragatya. Samvatsara is by the calculation of the movement of the sun. That means for the sun to go around and come to the same spot, how much time does it take? Parivatsara iti barhaspati gatya. Parivatsara is a calculation in terms of the movement of Jupiter. Anuvatsara iti chandragatya. Anuvatsara is talking about how much time it takes for moon. Rikshataranam swatah gati abhavat chakra gatir eva gatiriti. Whereas there's no orbital motion for this 27 nakshatras and so on. So then it's not chakra gatir, it cannot be chakra gatir, it must be chandra gatir. No, it is Chakragati, but Chakragati must be referring to the movement of Chandra only. Yes. Tatrapi Rikshanam Saptavimshati Dinam Anaihi Masaihi Dwadashabi Vatsarai. And then 27 days with 12 months, that makes a Vatsara for the 27 constellations. Taranam Sankhya Abhavat. Trimshat Dina Pramanai Savanai Masaihi Idavatsara, not Idavatsara, Idavatsara. Iti Gyeyam. Idavatsara iti Gyeyam. For the other nakshatras, which are called taras, since there's no way to calculate how many there are, so there is a consideration of Idavatsara, which you have solar months, each of 30 days. Trimshatina Pramanai. What is this? Savana is not. Our mass. The subject matters of physics, chemistry, mathematics, astronomy, time and space dealt with in the above verses of Srimad Bhagavatam are certainly very interesting to students of the particular subject, but as far as we are concerned, we cannot explain them very thoroughly in terms of technical knowledge. The subject is summarized by the statement that Above all the different branches of knowledge is the supreme control of Kala, the plenary representation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Nothing exists without him, and therefore everything, however wonderful it may appear to our meager knowledge, is but the work of the magical wand of the Supreme Lord. As far as time is concerned, we need to subjoin here with a table of timings in terms of the modern clock. 1 Thruti, 8 by 13,500 second. 1 Vedha, 8 by 135 second. 1 Lava, 8 by 45 second. 1 Nimesha, 8 by 15 second. 1 Kshana, 8 by 5 second. 1 Kashtha, 8 seconds. 1 Laghu, 2 minutes. 1 Danda, 24 minutes. 1 Prahara, 3 hours. 1 day, 12 hours. 1 night, 12 hours. 1 Paksha, 15 days. 2 Pakshas comprise 1 month. 12 months comprise 1 calendar year or 1 full orbit of the sun. A human being is expected to live up to 100 years. That is the way of the controlling measure of eternal time. The Brahma Samhita 5.52 affirms this control in this way. Chakshuresha Savita Sakala Grahana Raja Samasta Srimurti Rashesha Teja Yasyagya Brahmati Sambrata Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tapam Bhajami. I worship Govinda, the primeval Lord, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, under whose control even the sun, which is considered to be the eye of the Lord, rotates within the fixed orbit of eternal time. The sun is the king of all planetary systems and has unlimited potency in heat and light. But this Ida Vatsara, all of this, I had seen it somewhere else. Where did I see it? I saw it. Wait, I'll tell you where I saw it. He mentions it. Sanatana Goswami mentioned. Yes. Quotes from the Mahabharata Purana. So it looks like previously they had very clear conception of all this. Samvatsara, Parivatsara, Idavatsara, Anuvatsara, Udvatsara. We are in the dark in today's world about these things. These things appears that it was just ordinary general knowledge for them. 15. Yasritya Shaktim Urudhotshvasai. Urudhotshvasayan Swashaktya. Umso Brahmaya Devi Dhavati Bhuta Bheda. Alakhya Gunamayam Ratubhir Vitanvam Tasmai Balim Bharata Vatsara Panchakaya. O Vidura, the sun enlivens all living entities with his unlimited heat and light. He diminishes the duration of life of all living entities in order to release them from their illusion of material attachment. He enlarges the path of elevation to the heavenly kingdom. He just moves in the firmament with great velocity. Therefore, everyone should offer him respects once every 5 years with all ingredients of worship. किमर्थमिदं वत्सरभेदकल्पनम् इति चेत् तत्तद् वर्षविहित धर्मादिसिद्ध्यर्थम् इत्याह. Now, why all these different? Why bring up all these different types of years? This is because this is in order to carry out the various pious activities and so on, according to various calculations, in various varshas, as recommended for those specific places. That is noted in the current verse. Srijyana udbhij jadina shaktim ankurado samarthyam swashaktya kalarupaya urdha uchvasayan prakashayan divvi antarikshe dhavati. So the sun, it reveals in several ways in the form of the sun, it reveals its capacity to bring about the ability of plants to germinate and so on. It is by the force of time that all of these things are happening. And this happens everywhere. It happens in the sky, it happens in outer space. It moves about, bring about this effect. Who is that sun? Bhuta Bhedaha, Mahabhuta Vishesha, Tejo Mandala Rupi. That sun itself is composed of Tejas, one of the gross elements. See, in the Vedic system, a Surya Mandala is not exactly the sun disk that human beings perceive. Human beings only perceive the Surya Mandala as a disk, but in reality, it is the sun with this entourage, with this group of associates. So he moves with his associates. Kimartam Dhavati, why does he rush? Why does he keep moving? Pumsaha Purushasya Avramaya Ding Mahadi Nivrite Mohadidu Pramaya. Ding Mohadi Nivrite. Not Mahadi. Mohadi Nivrite. Sakamanam Gunamayam Swargadi Phalam Samvatsaradi Vihita Karma. Kala Yapanaaya Kratubihi Anushtheyehi. Tasmat. Tasmai Vatsara Panchika Pravartakaya Kalim. Balim. Not Kalim. Balim. Not Arghya. Arghya. It's terrible. Arghya Adi Puja Vaharam Datta. Hey Dharmika Loka. Okay, that's a basis for why all of these things are happening. He's the one who causes people with material desires and who are confused about what to do at what time and what direction and what and so on. He has this arrangement by which they can attain results, which are certainly within the three modes of material nature, but results in the form of swarga and so on. And that happens when you engage in specific sacrifices. And in order to make them understand what is the auspicious time with which you do it, you have all these arrangements of samvatsara, idavatsara, in different types of calculations. So all of you who are dharmic, you should offer all these items of worship in the form of arghya and so on. You should do it to this sun god, because he's the one who, because of whom we have the 5 types of years. 16. Vidrovacha Pitradeva Manusyanam Ayuh Param Idam Smritam Parisham Gatim Achakshva Yesyu Kalpad Bahir Vidaha. Vidura said, I now understand the life duration of the residents of the Pita planets, Pitriloka, and heavenly planets, Swargaloka, as well as that of the human beings. Now kindly inform me of the life duration of those greatly learned living entities who are beyond the range of a kalpa. I mean, those who live longer than that. Idam swaswa manena vashashatam ye vidaha vamsaha kalpal dainandinal vakihi paratrapi tishtante tesham sanakadinam bhringvadinam cha gatim ayuhu. So you have spoken about 100 years according to the various calculations, each of which is said to be 100 years for them. So you have the Pitraloka, Swargaloka, human beings. Now please describe the life duration of Sanaka and the other brothers, as well as Bhrigu and others, who are living for a duration which is longer than this daily duration of Kalpa, as described by the learned souls, learned authorities. The partial dissolution of the universe that takes place at the end of Brahma's day does not affect all the planetary systems. The planets of highly learned living entities like the sages Sanaka and Bhrigu are not affected by such dissolutions. All the planets are of different types, and each is controlled by a different Kala Chakra or schedule of eternal time. The time of the Earth planet is not applicable to other more elevated planets. Therefore, Vidura herein inquires about the duration of life on other planets. Notice that everywhere this expression Kala Chakra is used. Chakra. Chakra means circle. It's a cycle. It goes around, 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 around. Time is cyclic in nature. That should be very clearly understood. In all parts of the universe, the effect of time is always cyclic. Time is not linear. In today's world, modern people think time is linear. It's not linear, it is cyclic. 17. Bhagavan Veda Kalasya Gatim Bhagavato Nanu Vishwam Vichakshate Dhira Yogaradhena Chakshusha. A spiritually powerful one. You can understand the movements of eternal time, which is the controlling form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Because you are a self-realized person, you can see everything by the power of mystic vision. So, your grace is a very powerful person. So, you have the ability to see through mystic yoga the details pertaining to my questions. That is what he wants to indicate. Okay, let me look at the chat box. If one performs punya and papa simultaneously, still they are allowed to go to Swarga. Pitriloka. The details for who goes to Pitriloka and all comes in Mahabharata and other places. Still some question here.
So you are answering my question in the chat box that why they think the time is linear.
Why they think time is linear? Because it's very convenient. In linear time, you start with something very lower and you move up to something which is higher. So people think that we are progressing. So they prefer to create a narration in which everything was very inferior. And now we are moving superior. This is what is taught in all the schools to all the children all over the world. Cyclic time is not taught. The narration based on cyclic time is not taught at all. It is not meant for public consumption. It is meant for private belief. Whereas we have public knowledge, we publicly know that we are progressing in a linear manner. Whereas you can privately believe something else as long as you don't disturb us. So they think very convenient. But the seasons are cyclic, everything is cyclic. It's more reasonable to interpret natural phenomena as being productive of a cyclic time, as indicative of cyclic time. All right, so we'll stop at that. I'm Shagad Budravyashi, Vipasandam Kevati, Tanam Bhavanam Vaishnava, Namo Namaha.